Good morning YouTube, and today you join me back in the e92 M3. As per the title, it was stolen, it has been recovered, thankfully with minimal damage, but today we'll be talking about what happened, and also that for a lot of YouTubers, I guess, you make your own videos where you think always keep the camera on you, anytime something happens get ready to film. And I'll be completely honest, when I woke up and realised the car wasn't there and the front wall was all smashed to bits, grabbing the GoPros was the last thing on my mind. So I'll go through today the timeline of what happened, the fact that they were going for the Mrs. 240i as well, and where this was found and what condition it was in. So hopefully it'll be a bit of an eye-opener. I was certainly one of those people that always thought it's never going to happen to me. I'm on a driveway, I've got houses everywhere around here. It's well too blatant to be coming to try and nick a car from here. But as you probably see now, we've got the stop locks on both the steering wheel. Got a post going in the driveway. I've got all new CCTV on the house, intruder alarm. It's really been a big eye-opener, unfortunately, and it's just one of those things I hope would never happen to myself. Never really thought it would, but yeah, here we are. So I hope you enjoy the video, and like I say, hopefully it's a bit of an eye-opener. So I guess we'll start the video Thursday evening on the 5th of November. Posted up on Instagram for those that follow a clip of the e92, a few of it in action. And I was talking to Matt, and Matt said maybe we should do a point of view video with it. I thought, you know what, I'm really loving the car. I've said it in previous videos. I think it'll be pretty cool to go out and just do a dedicated, none of me waffling or talking, just a pure driving video of the e92. So I put the video up on Instagram. Like I say, everything was normal, you know, other than the current world pandemic that we've got going on. Went to bed, slept absolutely fine, didn't hear anything in the night, and then got woken up by the missus screaming, the wall's been smashed down, and then the next scream, your car's gone. I mean, it's something that I'd never really sort of appreciated how gut-wrenching it would be, like waking up and not seeing it there and being like, where is it, what state it is, what's it being used for, was just, man, it was pretty gut-wrenching. And like I said in the intro, last thing I was thinking about was getting GoPros out, you know, filming it. I was just in complete shock, and to be honest with you, I think it took a couple of days for it to really sink in. It's sort of a bit overwhelming that I was like, yeah, it's gone, I may never see it again. So got out of bed. First panic was, we've got an indoor cat. Yes, I'm a crazy cat man, for those who don't know. So I ran downstairs thinking that they'd broken into the house and obviously taken the keys. Come downstairs, front door's all locked, nothing's been broken into, cat's all absolutely fine. And then open the front door, and as I walk outside in my bed shorts, so bear in mind I'm not in any real solid state of mind, it's freezing cold, police car pulls up onto the driveway, 3 police officers jump out, come towards me. Are you Mr. Stone? I was like, yes. They're like, where's your car? And I was like, well, that's a good question. I'm in my bed shorts, like bed hair going on, my brick wall's been taken down. And I think they realised pretty quickly that it wasn't anything obviously to do with me. I hadn't driven out drunk and then driven off somewhere. So they said, well, the good news is we've found your car. And obviously the first thing that ran through my mind from what I've seen online is it's smashed to pieces, it's been crashed, it's been set on fire, it's burned to the ground, it's gone. But they said no, the car's all right. It was found a couple of 100 metres down the road, parked on double yellow. So I was like, right, okay. And at this point, like I say, everything was happening so quickly, and I'll try to remember the timeline as accurately as possible. Like I say, our neighbour's ring doorbell picked up a couple of bits as well, so we did have a bit of an insight what was going on. But obviously, because it wasn't on their driveway, it didn't motion detect everything. So from what we can piece out and the timeline the police have gone through and the doorbell, the car was stolen early hours of the morning. They'd reversed out the driveway, but I assume because of the condensated mirrors, which is something I'm familiar with, they've just clipped my wall. Now, as you can see from the intro clip, either my wall has not been built very well, or the rear bumper on this is rock solid. I'm going to go with the wall not being built very well, because I haven't even got any sort of stress fractures on the plastic. I've jacked it all up. Thankfully, the bumper's absolutely fine. But at this point, obviously, all I knew was my car was gone, the wall was down. Police have turned up and said, yeah, we found it, it's been recovered because it was parked on double yellow. So I was like, right, okay. And they said, well, that's the reason we found it. So from my house, we've got loads of little side roads. A few of them are double yellowed because people park badly on them, and I understand why. Police car, by complete chance, was driving down the road, saw my car with the lights on, parked on a double yellow line. So obviously for them, it's like, well, what's going on here? They pull into the road, and this is the police officer's words, not mine, because obviously I wasn't there. And he said the car was running, laptop on the passenger seat, load of number plates on the passenger seat, and it was just parked on double yellows. No one was there. So, right, well, this is definitely not right. Straight away, because of the number plates, because of the laptop, because of where it's parked, they said we just blocked the road and instructed recovery. Now, in that same sort of time that by chance they found the car, the Ring doorbell picks another set of car headlights pulling up onto my driveway. Mrs.'s car unlocks, and then the next thing you know, they just dart off. So what I can only assume happened was whoever was watching my car down the road, potentially not in it, but round the corner, whatever, notified them that the police had been informed. But that was by complete chance. It wasn't a tracker that notified them. It was just a police car driving by, and then they just left my car. Now, like I say, the missus's car was fine. They nicked a pair of sunglasses, they nicked 20 quid out the centre console. But as I say, my car now had no idea what state it was in. The police officer said, yeah, it's in good order, it's not in a terrible way, but he says, I'm not a mechanic, I don't really know. So the car was recovered, and then obviously police took a statement, sort of had a cup of tea, let it all soak back in, and then it moved to the next part. So the next part, obviously, I'm now like, well, I want to see the car because I want to know what state it's in. As far as I'm aware, the police will say it's good, but it's reversed into a wall. I'm thinking it's taken out the rear quarter. I've done the door. It's got the front wing. It was going to be absolutely horrific. And obviously, you just think the worst. Now, the problem was, is the police, once they realised it obviously was a theft, said that the car's going to be on police hold now until they do the fingerprint dusting. So they said, don't worry, it'll be in dry, secure storage because they have to. The car can't be contaminated. It'll be safe where it is, which was only a recovery yard about 15-20 minutes away in Chertsey. But the problem was, with COVID and everything going on, they said it was going to be anywhere from 5 to 7 days. So I had 7 days basically of just thinking, what state is it in? Shall I make an insurance claim? And you are supposed to notify your insurer straight away, but it was one of those things I thought, you know what, I really don't want to make a claim at this stage. And again, I'll go into that towards the end of the video. And just waiting. So I ended up going to work as normal. Obviously it plays on your mind all day. You think, you know, I've never been a victim of theft. None of my cars or bikes are on finance. I save up for them, I buy them. And you just sort of think, well, what's the point in owning these nice things? You know, it's gut-wrenching when it gets taken. And I did go into that mentality a little bit, that I thought, nope, just going to buy a cheap daily now, not going to have the stress of this. And obviously for you lot who watch the channel and hopefully know I do love my cars, I do love my bikes, and the missus was like, nah, well, you can't think like that, you know, we'll go back to normal, having nice cars again. And I'm glad, like, now it's sort of settled in, and I've thought to myself, do you know what, I do like having the cars and I do work hard for them, so why shouldn't I have them? You know, it's unfair that someone should make me feel like that in my own home, that I don't feel safe having the toys. But it's just been a bad year altogether. I mean, on top of the COVID, my missus's mum passing away, like we lost our first cat, it's just been shite, I'll be completely honest. And this was just like another 2020 special that arrived, and like I say, just it shocked myself, and I think most people that I told it to were so shocked as well, because until you know someone or you hear of someone close to you having it happen, you sort of do think, yeah, nah, that's not going to happen, I'll be fine. So yeah, 2020, it really hasn't been great. And like I say, could have been a lot worse. It is only metal, it can be replaced, it is insured, but obviously I'll go through the next chapter on the story. So roll the clock forward 9 days. I finally get the car off police hold, and I didn't want to be one of those people to constantly chase up. Obviously, I'm just waiting in limbo. The police had called me 2 days later and said, we've done all the fingerprinting, we just now need the sergeant to release it. And I mean, I've got to be thankful that the police found the car. Without them, obviously, we wouldn't be sitting in here now making the video. But at the same time, it was like, come on guys, you've done the fingerprint inspecting. They need one sergeant to make a phone call to the recovery agent, and no one in that department would do it unless it was the sergeant. So waited and waited and waited, finally got the phone call. And I thought, you know what, I've been using the Mrs. 240i all week. So although for you watch the channel, I do have a lot of cars, but they're all old cars I don't really want to get, you know, daily driven, potential for salt on the roads because it is getting cold. So the Mrs. was furloughed, and she said, look, take my car for the week. So she's been as good as gold letting me use that. And got to the recovery agent, had a look at the car, and they were like, yeah, we don't think it rolls, it's got a little bit of marking on the back, it looks like it's hit something. I was like, that's going to be the wall. And then I went out to the warehouse with the guy, and he was like, yeah, look, your rear wheels are well close to the arches. I was like, it's just lowered and spaced. He's like, oh right, okay. So walking around the car, I could see the damage to the rear of it where it hit the wall. Unfortunately, the twats had also curbed the left side wheel when they'd parked it up on the double yellows, so they've been off back again, ready for refurbishment. But overall, pretty happy with how everything looked. And the guy said, are you going to recover it back? I said, to be honest with you, it's all sort of 30-mile-an-hour roads back home. If I get out of the industrial estate and I feel it's risky, I'll get my friend Lozzie, give you a plug, Loz, you've always been a star, to come and pick it up if needs be. But he's I was happy that it was good to drive. And as I say, drove it back home, steering wheel tracked absolutely straight, no knocks, rattles. Because like I say, it only curbed the wheels, it was never going to really smash the geo out. It's not like the wheel was buckled or broken in any way, it's just grazed the curb. The other bit of peace of mind as well is obviously because I didn't wake up, I assume it was creeped off the driveway. It was only driven 400 metres down the road. The trip computer, the fuel needle, everything tallies up that it hasn't had a night of hooligan driving because the police found it so quickly. So my initial thoughts were, oh, is there going to be damage to the engine? But I thought, you know what, the guys left quietly, the twats shall I say, left quietly. They've obviously tried to creep away without making as much noise as possible. They've got stumbled midway through taking it, because if that police car hadn't have found it, where would it be now? Who knows? Stripped down into a million bits. So don't even want to think about that. So I'm happy that I got it back. The plan is to do an oil change today anyway. It was on the list typically the Saturday after it was stolen. It was all scheduled. I bought all the bits from Cotswold BMW and OP Oil, so it was ready to have an oil change. So gonna do that today just for the extra peace of mind. But like I say, it done no mileage cold. I'm confident that it's going to be okay, and ultimately I am happy to keep it. So I mentioned in the beginning of the video that I was against making an insurance claim, and there's probably a lot of you straight away thinking, oh, he's got a big excess, or he's not got the correct cover. Not the case at all. Every modification's declared on the car. I mean, everything. It's to the point where I did a list of the items and emailed it to him, so there was 100% confirmation. My policy excess is 250 quid. To be honest with you, the cost of the bumper and the wheels being refurbished, it would be well worth making the claim initially. But the problem you've got to remember is you've got to declare this on your policy for 5 years that you've obviously made a claim, regardless of whether it's your fault or not. The car was stolen, your insurance company's paying out, they've got no way of reclaiming it, so it is a claim. And then you think, well, how bad can it be? Well, being just on the outskirts of London, having a multi-car policy, having a multi-bike policy, declaring it on all of those for an additional 5 years, I worked out would be anywhere from £1,500 to £2,000. So because the damage to the car is 2 wheels and a bumper, it didn't make sense to make the claim. So I made the decision that, nah, I'm going to just pay for this. As much pain as it is to take it on the chin, I'll just do it myself and sort it out. And at least then I know it's been done by people I trust. Whereas when you go for the insurance network, they'll say you have to go to one of our approved repairers. If not, the excess can change. So for me, I was just happy just to get it home, do all the bits myself, and like I say, get it rectified, even if it was going to cost me a couple £100. So the big one now. Well, as I said, for those of you that have followed the channel, I was planning to build a big workshop down the bottom of the garden. Me and the missus sort of come to the conclusion that we'd be here for about 5 years, and then eventually, obviously, I think will be time for a family, time to grow up. and then we would look to move house. I mean, pulling out onto a main road when it's busy is enough of a hindrance on a daily basis, but it's just one of those things. I'm close to work, got plenty of space here. It made sense to ride the wave out, get the garage built. But ultimately now, as sad as it is, it's push the move forward. Just being here doesn't make me feel scared or worried, but it's just like, for me, this isn't the pinnacle of car ownership, and I don't mean that in a snobby way, as there are more cars that I want to own. Being without a gated entrance, being so exposed, it just doesn't fill me with confidence being here, and the missus is the same. So we are going to look to move. I think with the way everything is at the moment, I mean, we've got to be having a recession next year. It's not looking clever, is it? Once the furlough ends in March, the economy's not going to be in a good place. We still haven't really discussed Brexit. So I think ultimately we'll be selling up the houses, buy one between us that'll be a nice size. It's already got a garage on it. Potentially move a little bit further out of London, because you pay a premium for somewhere now that, even before the theft, you can't really use the bikes or the cars like you can out in the countryside. I'm not saying we'll move that far, but it would be nice to move a little bit further out without being a million miles away, which is a shame that we've been made to feel like that. But ultimately it's just changed gears sooner than expected, because it was something we were going to do. But like now, it just makes sense that rather than putting more money into something I'm not 100% sold on, it is difficult getting the cars down the side because it is narrow, but it was something I was willing to work with. So I think now we will look to move next year, and like I say, try and find somewhere with a good sized garage on it all ready to go, so I haven't got to go through the building process, planning permission, etc. Another thing I think I'll touch on in this video is, I'm sure there are people at home sitting thinking, why have you told this to the world? You know, you could sell this car, no one would ever know, you could repair it yourself. But I think that for me is the thing, because there was such minimal damage to it, I wouldn't say it taints it when I come to sell it 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line. To be honest with you, I don't even think I'm going to sell it now. It's got to the point where I'm like, I hoard all the stuff I buy. They seem to be pretty safe money. They're not really going down because they're the only V8 M3 and the last naturally aspirated. So for me, I've made the video, and I did it not for clickbait. I didn't do it for, you know, to try and draw in loads of subscribers. What I really wanted to get across in this video was, if you do park your car somewhere without security, think about it. Because I was that person who thought, no, it'll be fine. And now, like I say, I've got the latest version of the stop lock on there. They do another one that's a big disc lock, which is meant to be the most indestructible one. But ultimately, if they're going to take it, whether they crane it, whether they drag it, they're going to have it. This is just a deterrent. And the reason I didn't go for the big disc lock is it's quite bulky. I've read that it marks all the steering wheel. Whereas, like I say, this is still a good size. It's a deterrent. You certainly can't drive it away. Even if you broke the window, you'd still hit the A-pillar or the centre console. Yes, I'm sure with a 4-inch grinder you could get it off. But it's one of those, isn't it? You can only do so much. Like I say, we've been looking into the ghost modules as well, just to try and make sure that if the cars are broken into, they can't be driven away. I thought I'd disabled comfort access, but having a look with Matt on Carly, it looked like I hadn't. So one of the keys I hadn't had it programmed, but they still got into the missus's and they still got into mine. So we definitely need to do more, like I say, on the security front of things. I'm going to be putting a proper telescopic drop-in concrete post at the top of the driveway. The brick wall has now been repaired, so it doesn't look like a drunk driver's crashed into the front of the house. I've got motion sensitive CCTV all around the perimeter of the house and in the garage, which alarms me directly to my phone if there's certain movements. We've got intruder alarm in the house, so if someone does break in, like I say, it's just going to make sure that I can actually wake up before being woken up by a bat to the head or a knife to the throat, as horrible as it is to think of. Like when you look back and you see how cars are stolen, like people getting up in their own homes and, you know, finding someone in there after the keys and then it turning into just a nasty situation. So trying to prevent that as much as possible, to be honest with you. I don't really want to think about it, but I've done this before, like I said at the beginning of the video, where I thought, no, it'll never happen to me. So now we just want to make sure we've done everything in our power. But like I say, ultimately you could be at Tesco's car park, someone could see it, take it, it could be gone. So that's where things like the Ghost Immobiliser and these are handy to have. But I think for the future now, it's sadly been a real eye-opener, and I find myself looking out the window all the time. If I hear anything out the front, whereas before wouldn't really think twice about it. So not good, not good. So what does this mean for the next couple of months? Well, obviously it's been a big expense, not really the car repair, but all the alarm, CCTV, the wall, the post going in, and unfortunately it's just slowed the E46 build down. It was something that I was hoping I was going to have finished by Christmas time to the level that I wanted it to be at with the coilovers, but it's just going to set that back, unfortunately. And I guess ultimately, thank God it wasn't the E46 stolen. As much as, you know, I've really grown to love the E92, the E46 is my baby. I've gone all over the, you know, Europe on it. We went to North Coast in it. I've spent countless hours underneath it, building, working on it, and I think that would genuinely break my heart if that had been taken. I would not have been a happy boy. But that runs the older security. It's not keyless or comfort, so it's a lot harder to steal in that respect. But it did make me think, you know, if that had have gone or they had have towed it, certainly wouldn't have been a happy boy. So I'm thankful that the E46 is all okay. We I guess I suppose as best as you can look at light of the situation. Like I say, Danny bought the cat a new little outfit to obviously keep an eye on the cars while we're at work, so it's a little bit of happiness, I suppose. Try and forget the fact how much money it's going to cost me setting this right, because some absolute pond life decided to ruin my evening. But ultimately, I do want to say a big thanks to everyone that's wished well. I know when I put it on Instagram, a lot of people, you know, sorry to hear, and, you know, if there's anything we can do, and things were like Danny lending me her car. Matt's been really good. He's like, if you need to borrow the Clio, he's got the 200, that'll be on the channel soon. He said you can borrow that for the time being if you don't want to use her car to get around in. So everyone's been really good. My friend Lee's offered to help as well with the CCTV stuff, which thankfully I managed to get all of it myself. And a big shout out to Brian for helping with all the alarm stuff, because like I say, now I can at least sleep a little bit easier with that all installed. And again, it's all app based. So fingers crossed, this is the last bit of shite news for 2020. I really do hope it's all going to be smooth sailing from here. We've got, like I say, plenty of stuff in the channel. We've got Aaron's 1M. He's just bought an RC30 again, so we actually get to review one. We've got Matt's 200. Still got to finish doing Danny's 240i and all the upgrades, and the E46. So obviously I'll keep you guys posted with the next video on, you know, if we do get any feedback from the police. And the final thing I will end the video on is what was interesting with the police. And again, this is what the police told me. I haven't seen the equipment, so before anyone goes in the comments, it's not possible, they can't do it. I'm just going by what the police have told me. They said the equipment they found in the car that had it running would be in excess of £20,000. Now, this is the sergeant that said that when he relayed it to the guy who came to the house. And it was genuine BMW stuff. So they're hoping they had some serial numbers on it, because maybe if it was ordered, if it was stolen from a dealer. To be honest with you, I haven't seen it. I don't know what it looks like. They wouldn't let me anywhere near the car when I came to pick it up. All the stuff had been removed. But it'd be good if they could catch the fuckers. It really would. And I know what the justice system's like in the UK. It's not like they're going to do any real time for it. But if it stops happening to someone else, that'd be enough for me, because it is just proper horrible. But hopefully the video has been a bit of an insight. Not a great one, more of a waffling one about what happened to me. Obviously just being a bit sad about it all, but onwards and upwards. It is only metal, it can be replaced. Me, the missus and the cat are all okay, and I've had a couple of weeks to get over it now, so let's get the car fixed. I've got the wheels off with Stan. I'm going to try and get the bumper in the next week, and this can hopefully all just be a distant memory. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time.